liberty, and in God we trust. If you spot something unusual, it might be worth sending your coin to a professional grading service for authentication. You could be holding a piece of numismatic history worth tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. The story of the 1968 Lincoln penny reminds us that great value often hides in plain sight. These coins were never meant to be special, yet through a small mistake in the minting process, they became legendary. Whether you're a collector or just someone curious about the hidden worth of coins in circulation, the 1968 penny proves that sometimes even the smallest things can hold the greatest treasures. So next time you find an old penny from 1968, don't dismiss it as just a cent. Take a closer look, because one day that tiny copper coin might just make you $183,000 richer. In 1968, the United States mint struck millions of Lincoln pennies, ordinary coins used in everyday life. But among these seemingly common sense, a few rare treasures were created by accident, and one of them is now worth up to $183,000. That's right, a small copper coin from 1968 could be worth more than most luxury cars. These pennies are valuable not just for their age, but for a rare and fascinating minting era that makes them unique in the world of coin collecting. The 1968 Lincoln penny was struck in 3 different locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The San Francisco Mint produced special proof coins, carefully made with polished dies and mirror-like surfaces for collectors. However, some of these proof coins contained an extraordinary mistake known as a double die obverse. This error caused parts of the design, such as "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date, to appear slightly duplicated or shadowed. These rare double die pennies are among the most prized finds for collectors today, because the 1968 proof pennies were made with extra care. Discovering a doubling on such a coin was a major surprise. Proof coins were not supposed to have such visible errors, and that's what makes them so rare and valuable. Only a few of these error coins exist, and when they appear at auction, they can fetch enormous prices. In one notable sale, a pristine 1968 proof double die Lincoln penny sold for an astonishing $183,000, turning a simple 1-cent coin into a collector's dream. The value of a 1968 Lincoln penny depends heavily on its condition and rarity. Regular circulation coins from that year are worth only face value, but the rare double die proof varieties can bring thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars, especially when graded by top services like PCGS or NGC. Collectors seek coins with bright red luster and flawless proof surfaces, as these command the highest premiums. Each coin's tiny details can make the difference between a penny and a fortune. The story of the 1968 Lincoln penny is a perfect reminder that hidden treasures can be found in. The year was 1942. The world was deep in the turmoil of World War II, and every piece of metal was vital for the war effort. Steel, copper, and even bronze were being redirected from the US Mint to military factories to make ammunition and weapons. Yet, amidst all that chaos, a small, humble coin was struck, the 1942 Lincoln penny, a coin that today can fetch up to $185,000 under the right conditions. At first glance, the 1942 Lincoln penny looks just like any other cent. It carries the classic design created by Victor David Brenner, Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the wheat stalks on the reverse, symbolizing strength and prosperity. But the real story lies in what this coin represents, a turning point in American numismatic history. During this time, the US Mint was experimenting with new materials to conserve copper for wartime use. While most 1942 pennies were made of the traditional bronze alloy minus 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, a few extremely rare test coins were struck in steel and other experimental compositions. These rare pieces are the ones that collectors dream of finding. Some 1942 Lincoln pennies were accidentally struck on silver plankets used for dimes, while others were struck on experimental, zinc-coated steel plankets that would later become standard in 1943. These minting errors are what make the 1940 penny so valuable. A genuine error penny from this year, verified by professional grading services, has been known to sell for up to $185,000 at auction. Imagine holding a penny that was accidentally made on dime metal, a coin literally worth thousands of times its face value. But not every 1940 penny is rare. Millions were minted across Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The key is to look for unique variations, mint marks, and unusual metal composition. For example, if your 1940 penny sticks to a magnet, it might be one of those rare steel or zinc test strikes. If it has a silvery tone or weighs slightly less than the standard 3.11 grams, it could be worth sending to a grading company like PCGS or NGC. Collectors and dealers alike are constantly searching for these rare survivors, the ones that slipped through the mint's careful quality control during wartime experiments. Condition also plays a huge role in the value of a 1940 Lincoln penny. A coin in mint state condition, especially with a proof-like finish or full details on Lincoln's portrait and the wheat ears, can reach extraordinary prices. The highest reported sale, over $185,000, came from a near-perfect, uncirculated 1940 penny struck on the wrong metal planchet. For collectors, this coin is more than just a mistake. It's a snapshot of history, a rare relic of a time when every ounce of metal was precious, and every cent truly counted. Today, the 1942 Lincoln penny continues to capture the fascination of numismatists worldwide. It represents both craftsmanship and chance, a blend of human ingenuity and error that created one of the rarest. In 1968, the United States Mint produced millions of Lincoln pennies, small copper coins that many Americans used every day without a second thought. But hidden among these ordinary coins, a few rare and extraordinary pieces were created, coins so special that today, one of them can fetch up to $183,000 at auction. Yes, a simple 1-cent coin that could change a collector's life forever. The 1968 Lincoln penny comes from a fascinating period in U.S. coinage history. During the late 1960s, the mint was dealing with changes in design, die varieties, and production techniques. There were 3 main mints producing the penny that year: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Each had its own mint mark. No mark for Philadelphia, D for Denver, and S for San Francisco. But it's the 1968S proof penny that stands out. And some of these proof coins hide secrets that even experts took years to uncover. Collectors began to notice unusual varieties of the 1968S Lincoln penny. Some had double dies, where the design elements, especially the inscriptions like "In God We Trust" or "Liberty," appeared to have a ghosted or shadowed image. This doubling was caused by a misalignment during the minting process, and only a handful of these coins escaped the mint in perfect proof condition. These tiny imperfections created an astronomical difference in value. What once was a 1-cent coin became one of the most sought-after rarities in American numismatics. The most famous among them is the 1968S proof double die obverse. This variety shows strong doubling on the inscriptions and the date, making it instantly recognizable under magnification. Because these were proof coins, they were meant to be flawless, polished dies, mirrored surfaces, and sharp details. Finding a double die among proof coins was like finding a diamond inside another diamond. Only a few dozen have been confirmed to exist, making them incredibly rare. In today's collector market, condition is everything. A 1968S penny graded as proof 6/8, red or higher by PCGS or NGC can command a fortune. At auctions, pristine examples have sold for jaw-dropping amounts, with one reaching as high as $183,000. The combination of rarity, historical importance, and collector demand makes it one of the most valuable Lincoln cents ever struck. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that most people would overlook as pocket change, but in reality, it's a small fortune in copper. So, how can you tell if you might have one of these treasures? Look closely at any 1968 penny you come across, especially those with the S mint mark. Check the lettering and the date under magnification for any signs of doubling. The doubling is usually strongest on Liberty and In God We Trust. If you spot something unusual, it might be worth sending your coin to a professional grading service for authentication. You could be holding a piece of numismatic history worth tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. The story of the 1942 Lincoln penny begins during one of the most challenging times in American history, World War II. In 1942, the U.S. Mint faced a major problem. Copper, the main metal used in pennies, was urgently needed for wartime production. The government needed every bit of copper for bullets, shell casings, and electrical equipment. As a result, the Mint started experimenting with alternative metals to replace copper in coinage. This decision would lead to one of the most interesting and valuable chapters in U.S. coin history, the creation of the rare and extraordinary 1940 to Lincoln penny varieties. The 1940 to Lincoln penny was part of the iconic Wheat Penny series, featuring the image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner, and to wheat stalks on the reverse, representing prosperity and national strength. Most pennies from that year were still made of bronze, a mix of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, but some very rare experimental pieces were struck using different metals. These include pennies mistakenly minted on steel or even silver dime plankets. These experimental or error coins were not meant for circulation, but a few escaped the mint and found their way into the hands of the public. What makes the 1942 Lincoln penny so valuable is a combination of history, rarity, and error. The rarest examples were those struck on the wrong metal plankets, coins that were never supposed to exist. One 1940 to penny, for instance, was struck on a dime silver planchet, creating a unique color and lighter weight than usual. These rare minting errors are the ones that can fetch staggering prices at auction, reaching up to $185,000 for well-preserved examples. It's this element of mystery and chance that fascinates collectors, knowing that a simple penny could turn out to be a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. The majority of 1940 to pennies were produced at three mints: Philadelphia no mint mark, Denver marked with a small d, and San Francisco marked with an S, while regular bronze coins from these mints are common and generally worth only a few cents to a few dollars. Any 1940 to coin with unusual metal color, weight, or magnetic attraction could be something extraordinary. A genuine steel or silver 1940 to penny would immediately stand out. It would look silvery and might even stick to a magnet. Unlike regular bronze cents, these rare coins, when authenticated by grading companies like PCGS or NGC, can change a collector's life overnight. Condition is another crucial factor when determining value. A circulated coin may hold historical significance, but an uncirculated or proof-like specimen with sharp details and no wear commands much higher prices. The most valuable 1940 to penny ever recorded, a perfect, uncirculated example, struck on the wrong planchet, sold for over $185,000 at auction. This shows how a small error in the mint can turn into a priceless piece of history. Collectors today are still searching